After spending 5 years as a singer, actor, singer-dancer in seasons at the London Palladium, Amsterdam Theatre, Carré, British Seaside, City and Touring Productions, I developed my Mr. Variety musical act, and for the next 27 years then appeared in every type of production plus television work until my wife's agent Vincent Shaw headhunted me back to my roots as an actor for the last 6 years of my career. There was still work for me with the act, but the backbone of light entertainment was the summer show, and these were thinning out drastically, and with pantomimes, etc., I was beginning to become disgusted with the style of things to the point where at 60 I decided that I could well afford to take early retirement. Again, there was still work available for me, but although initially angry at my decision, Vincent, who was also a personal friend of ours, had to agree with me that the business was not what it was. He also was disgusted at the state of things and admitted that he envied me being able to walk away with a mass of hobbies and interests to occupy my time, whereas he had only 2 interests in life, making money and the theatre. Being a millionaire several times over, he was stuck with dealing with folk in a business where integrity and good manners were now seriously lacking. Anyway, within a few days of being taken on to Vincent's books, I auditioned for a production of The Importance of Being Earnest, to be mounted at the English Theatre of Hamburg for several months in 1994. Hamburg is a beautiful city which I came to love, and apart from the main houses, has an absolute mass of smaller theatres, of which the English Theatre is one, seating around 100. Obviously, with this amount of seats, the budget has to be carefully watched, so previous productions had been limited to 2-handers, or at best a cast of 4. In presenting Importance, with a cast of 9 characters, the management were taking a courageous leap which actually paid off very well. However, they hedged their bets with the cast list by looking for an actor who could double the roles of the 2 butlers, Llewellyn and Merriman. I got the job, and as all productions are in the English language, I was vastly impressed with consistently full houses, and of how the audiences understood and appreciated the humour of Oscar Wilde in a foreign language. I decided to play Llewellyn as the younger of the 2 butlers, leaning back on the character with the suggestion of his being ever so slightly gay. The Germans particularly love visual humour, and this came home to me when playing the 2nd butler, Merriman, whom I decided to work as a slightly doddering old man. The company was owned by 2 Americans who took it in turn to direct alternate shows, and Clifford was a quiet, laid-back director. When it came to the tea-serving scene, he said that he knew that I'd done many pantomimes and wanted me to go as far as I liked visually with Merriman's discomfort in this situation. I said that I didn't want to risk going over the top and burlesquing it, but he said that the Germans loved visual comedy and that he was quite sure that I'd hit the right note. If he thought I was going too far, he'd tell me. We rehearsed the scene, and he never said a further word about it. So I enjoyed it, got the laughs, and occasionally managed to get an exit round.
Did you hear what I was playing, Llewellyn?
I didn't think it polite to listen, sir.
I'm sorry for that, for your sake. I don't play accurately. Anyone can play accurately, but I play with wonderful expression. As far as the piano is concerned, sentiment is my forte. I keep science for life.
Yes, sir.
And speaking of the science of life, have you got the cucumber sandwiches cut for Lady Blackmore?
Yes, sir.
Oh. By the way, Lady, I see from your books that on Thursday night, when Lord Shawman and Mr. Worthing were dining with me, 8 bottles of champagne are entered as having been consumed.
Yes, sir. 8 bottles and a pint.
Why is it that at a bachelor's establishment the servants invariably drink the champagne? I ask merely for information.
I attribute it to the superior quality of the wine, sir. I have often observed that in married households the champagne is rarely of a first-rate brand.
Good heavens. Is marriage so demoralizing as that?
I believe it is a very pleasant state, sir. I have had very little experience of it myself up to the present. I have only been married once. That was in consequence of a misunderstanding between myself and a young person.
I don't know that I'm much interested in your family life, Lane.
No, sir. It is not a very interesting subject. I never think of it myself.
Very natural, I'm sure. That will do, Lane, thank you.
Thank you.
I hate people who are not serious about meals. It is so shallow of them.
Lady Bracknell and Miss Fairfax.
Good afternoon, dear Angela. I hope you are behaving very well.
I'm feeling very well, Aunt Augusta.
That's not quite the same thing. In fact, the two things rarely go together. I'm sorry if we are a little late, Algernon, but I was obliged to call on dear Lady Harbury. I hadn't been there since her poor husband's death. I never saw a woman so altered. She looks quite 20 years younger. And now I'll have a cup of tea and one of those nice cucumber sandwiches you promised me.
Certainly, Aunt Augusta.
Won't you come and sit here, Gwendolen?
Thanks, Mamma. I'm quite comfortable where I am.
Good heavens! Lane, why are there no cucumber sandwiches? I ordered them specially.
There were no cucumbers in the market this morning, sir. I went down twice.
No cucumbers?
No, sir. Not even for ready money.
That will do, Lane. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm greatly distressed, Aunt Augustine, about there being no cucumbers. Not even for ready money.
Algy, you may turn round now.
Thanks. I have turned around already.
Oh, you may also ring the bell.
You will let me suit your car, my own darling.
Certainly.
I will see Miss Fairfax out.
Yes.
Ah, a glass of sherry, Lane.
Yes.
Tomorrow, Lane, I'm going Bunbury.
Yes, sir.
I shall probably not be back till Monday. You can put up my dress clothes, my smoking jacket, and all the Bunbury suits.
Yes, sir.
I hope tomorrow will be a fine day, Lane.
It never is, sir.
Lane, you're a perfect pessimist.
I do my best to give satisfaction, sir. Mr. Ernest Worthing has just driven over from the station. He's brought his luggage with him.
Ernest Worthing? Uncle Jack's brother. Did you tell him Mr. Worthing was in town?
Yes, miss. He seemed very much disappointed. I mentioned that you and Miss Prism were in the garden. He said he was anxious to speak to you privately for a moment.
Ask Ernest Worthing to come here. I suppose you'd better talk to the housekeeper about the room for him.
Yes, miss.
You young scoundrel, Algy. Now, you must get out of this place immediately. I don't allow any Bunburying here.
Sir, I've put Mr. Ernest's things in the room next to yours. I suppose that is all right?
What?
Mr. Ernest's luggage, sir. I've unpacked it and put it in the room next to your own.
His luggage?
Yes, sir. 3 suitcases, a whole, 2 hat boxes, and a large picnic basket.
I'm afraid I can't stay for more than a week this time.
Merriman, order a taxi at once. Mr. Ernest has been suddenly called back to town.
Yes, sir.
What a fearful liar you are, Jack. I've not been called back to town at all.
Yes, you have.
I haven't heard anyone call me.
You're due.
Spade. It is obvious that our social spheres have been widely different.
Shall I lay tea here as usual, miss?
Yes, as usual. Are there many interesting walks in the vicinity, Miss tea.